Hello. I'm going to play my tuba in the Big Harbor Band today. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what happened to my tuba? Oh, this used to be so shiny I could see my face in it. And now, well, look at it. It's all smudgy and grimy. I mean, it doesn't even look like my good old tuba anymore. Oh, this is terrible. And suddenly I don't even feel like playing it. I'm beginning to sound a little like our boat. The little rowboat, Theodore's friend. Oh, he was always so dreary and gloomy all the time. Until one day, one very special day. All the tugs were getting ready for the arrival of the Queen Stephanie, the greatest, grandest ocean liner in the world. Vodek was setting out the new marker buoys to mark the route the Queen would take into the Big Harbor. Emily was making sure everyone was in their proper place and ready for her arrival. And George was pulling Shelburne, the giant sea barge, through the harbor. They arrived at a small, rickety wooden dock. And at that small, rickety wooden dock lived a small, rickety wooden rowboat, whose name was our boat. R for row, that is. George moved Shelburne into position. Oh, what's going on now? Asked our boat in a kind of rickety little voice. The jumbo barge began to scoop up mud from the bottom of the harbor. We're making the water deeper here, replied George. No, it's deep enough for me, said the rowboat. You really shouldn't go to the trouble. No one usually does. It's not for you, replied George. The Queen Stephanie ocean liner is coming to visit. Tomorrow. She's going to stay here. But I live here, said our boat. Hi, George, Theodore whistled cheerfully. George whistled back. Hello. What are you doing to get ready for the Queen? I'm taking care of our boat while Her Majesty is staying here, answered Theodore. You're taking care of a rowboat? Said George. But you won't be able to help bring in the Queen. Oh, well, that's okay, said Theodore. I'll get to watch all of you bring her into the harbor. Oh, it'll be great. Theodore, smiled George, you always look on the bright side. Theodore threw his tow rope over the little rowboat and headed off. Where are we going? Asked our boat. We have to look for a new place for you to stay while the Queen is here, said Theodore. Oh, I like to stay in my dock, groaned the rowboat. Travel makes me seasick. Oh, you'll get your home back soon, Theodore said, trying to make our boat feel better. And it'll be bigger and better than ever. Oh, I suppose everything will turn out all right, said our boat. And again, probably not. We'll stay here tonight, said Theodore. Are there any clams? Asked our boat. Probably, replied Theodore. Clams, shivered our boat. The worst. Keep you up all night with their clapping. Oh, the water's cooler here than my old dock. Oh, I catch colds easily. Really was an enormous sneeze for such a small rowboat. Well, just then, Hank floated along. Hello, he shouted. We're just finishing getting ready for the Queen. Where are you going with that dock? Asked our boat. Oh, I'm just moving this old dock to make more room for the Queen Stephanie, replied Hank. But, well, that's my dock, said our boat. Oh, I told you so, our boat said to Theodore. Nothing good ever happens to me. Well, Theodore didn't know what to say. It seemed the gloomy little rowboat was determined to be, well, gloomy. all was quiet in the big harbor. All except for a kind of wickedy little sniffling sound. Theodore looked down and saw that it was her boat.
What's the matter?
Said Theodore.
Oh, I just thought of another thing.
Our boat went on.
No one will know where to visit me now that I've moved. Well, then again, no one ever visited me anyway.
Don't you have any friends? Said Theodore.
Oh, plenty,
replied our boat.
Well, few. Actually, none.
Do you have any friends?
Sure,
said Theodore.
Everyone's my friend.
Theodore could see all the other tugboats snuggled together for the night. Maybe we could be friends, said Theodore.
Oh, no one bigger ever wants to be my friend,
replied our boat.
And everyone's bigger than me.
Would you like to tell stories? Asked Theodore. I could tell you about the last time the Queen Stephanie visited the big harbor, and I helped bring her in.
Well, said our boat, I suppose I can tell you about the time a container ship almost ran over me.
Our boat turned so he could look at Theodore. And by the time storytelling was over, the little rowboat was fast asleep. And so was Theodore. The next morning, just as the sun was climbing up over the big harbor, Theodore and our boat were woken by the blast of a big ship. Right away, Theodore knew the Queen Stephanie had arrived. The golden morning light glinted off her 1,001 windows and seemed to make her sparkle like a great diamond floating on the water. "Isn't she beautiful?" gasped Theodore. He was feeling a little shivery deep inside. Theodore had never seen the little rowboat look so, well, little.
What's the matter?
He asked.
Oh, I was just thinking, well, how nice it would be to meet a big ship like that,
said our boat.
Well, why don't we go over and say hello?
Suggested Theodore.
Oh, the Queen would never even notice a little boat like me,
replied our boat.
No, you go ahead. I'll just float here and watch my wood rot.
Well, without another word, Theodore set off straight for the Queen.
All alone again,
our boat sighed to himself.
As usual.
After the other tugs were finished docking the Queen Stephanie, Theodore floated up. "Hello, Your Majesty," called Theodore. "Why, Theodore," said the Queen. "It's so nice to see you again." "We're all very glad to have you back in our harbor," said Theodore. "Why, thank you, Theodore," said the Queen. "But, Theodore, you seem a bit quiet today. Is everything all right?" "Oh, yes," replied Theodore. "Well, there is one thing." "Yes, Theodore," said the Queen. "Well, I have this friend," said Theodore. "I'd like to meet him," said the Queen right away. "Well, he's a very small friend," Theodore went on. "Sometimes small friends can be really big friends." "Oh," said Theodore. "I never thought about that." "Where does your friend live?" asked the Queen. "Well, actually," replied Theodore, "he lives right here." "I see," said the Queen. A little later, Theodore came chugging up to our boat. "Someone would like to meet you," he announced. Me? said our boat. "Yes," smiled Theodore. "The Queen Stephanie." "Oh, no, nobody that big would ever want to meet me," said the little rowboat. "Before, you said no one ever wanted to be your friend," said Theodore. "Oh, well, that's true, too," said our boat. "It's even worse than I thought. Thanks for reminding me." "Well," continued Theodore, "I'm your friend." "You are?" said our boat.
We told each other stories last night, didn't we? Said Theodore. That's what friends do. Maybe if you gave it a chance, you and the Queen Stephanie could be friends too. Well, our boat was very quiet for a moment. And then he turned a little to Theodore. Will you take me, Theodore? Sure I will, said Theodore. Well, Theodore took the little rowboat to visit the Queen. Our boat was so nervous, he hid behind Theodore. I understand you and I have a lot in common, said the Queen, looking down at our boat. We do? Said our boat. Yes, we do, continued the Queen. We both like this dock a lot. Yes, said our boat sadly. The thing I really like about it is no clams. Well, Theodore couldn't believe it. Talking about something as small as clams with the Queen. Clams, said the Queen. Oh, yes. Oh, they're the worst. Oh, they keep you up all night with their clapping. Well, from then on, our boat and the Queen talked and talked and talked. The next day, it was time for the Queen Stephanie to leave the harbor, and all the tugs were there to see her off. Goodbye, Your Majesty, whistled Theodore. Please come and visit us again soon. I will, Theodore, called the Queen. Goodbye. And then the greatest, grandest ocean liner in the world was gone. Theodore sure was happy he got to say goodbye to Queen Stephanie. At first, he thought he really should stay with our boat. But the Queen took care of that. You see, Her Majesty had given her new friend, our boat, a brand new home in the greatest, grandest place of all. Well, a pretty great and grand place. Floating right up there in the royal swimming pool. Oh, well, this is gonna be great, shouted our boat. Then again, probably not. Goodbye, called Theodore. I bet our boat's going to have a lot of fun in his new home. Oh, the Queen's own swimming pool? Then again, probably not. You know, I was just about to play my tuba in the Big Harbor Band. I don't know, it's so smudgy and grimy, I can't play that. What should I do? I know. A little polishing. A little polishing. A little tender, loving care. Whew. Oh, look. I can see my face in it again. Thanks for visiting us here in the Big Harbor. We'll see y'all again next time. Oh, that looks great.